Hello, hello. Ah, great. We have sound. And
Hello.
You have vision with your eyes.
I like the white one. It's perfect for you.
Yeah. This is, everyone knows this is Patricia Urquiola. This is why the house is so full. Thanks so much for coming. I'm being attacked by a bit of... Yes, yes. Applause. What a great way to start. And what a great way to... I always find it the best interviews with... I know. I blame Anne Vitjen, who is the fantastic floral artist, floral curator, who's done a fantastic job here. Look, it's actually in my hair now as well.
We appreciate it, Echo.
Interviewing a designer and actually sitting in their work, so to speak, is the best way to do it.
Criticizing a little bit.
And I have the privilege of actually feeling the absolute comfort of this new armchair, which is produced by Andreu World, and it's called Nuez Lounge Bio. And what I really love about it, before we go into the story behind it, about how smart it is that it visually promises a level of comfort that it then delivers. And I was thinking this morning, there's this quote by Goethe, which is that we feel with our eyes. The promise of something that is going to be comfortable is then delivered, which is not always the case. If you think about a Chesterfield sofa, for example, in my experience, it looks amazingly comfortable and then it's incredibly hard to kind of sit on. And do you think, is that something that kind of is interesting to you in your work, the idea of kind of visual comfort as well as literal comfort?
Then, what you want, I tell you. Well, we are sitting in this product that is, always I try to explain something, but in my mind I have another thing. I was now crossing Jesus and the person that for me is the one, when I think about this product, immediately I think my relation with that company. I am Spanish as roots, as perhaps you know, and I am Milanese really, I have a long path in this city. But when I work, especially with a company which is coming from my country, from Spain, I focus especially. Then I had a very hard and deep conversation with Jesus all these years. And we began this family. He's not the first piece of a family. The family began with a chair. They were always working in wood for a long, long time. It's a company with an FSG, which is a certificate, which is absolutely a qualified way of working in wood. And then he asked me to work with plastic. I said, why always? They ask me always the other side of the moon, no? And we began the chair, which was the normal chair, all the family, with a normal plastic. And I was complaining so much after 1 year that we found the way to move to a recycled plastic. Then, after 2 years, because the stories are long, 2-3 years, then already they were recycling. He wanted to do the large typology. And I say, you want the large typology from the same family, and you keep on asking me a plastic thing, and you work in wood. Perhaps now, if we do this chair, we are gonna go do in a kind of bioplastic. Then a I don't work with you if you don't turn the page, or we don't go onto this path. And Jesus Magnifico disappear for a little, and then come back and say, I think I've got a place in Europe that I can, we don't say the place, do not be too much, where we can work with a polymero, which is not, when we speak about polymer, we always think it's a plastic or coming from fossil. But polymer doesn't mean always that. You can have a kind of bio coming from other kind of alive material. And he was not joking. We were working this in the right way. But the good thing is when you get a kind of biopolymer, the important thing that it reacts in the same way that a normal polymer, and then what means you can go on the path of molds that we've been using normally, or you can get into a path that for him was interesting. Then we got into the project. Things were working seriously, and I think now the person which is working with him was so in love with the way we've been producing, telling, defending, and we are, I think, one of the first working on that thing with this kind of molds that they gave him for 5 years. He can be the only one using that company.
Right.
Which is not normal.
Exclusivity.
And
yes.
if you are not even Italian, you understand me, it's not so easy. Then I think it's a beautiful story.
And so the actual shell is compostable.
It's compostable. Then when you are speaking about a kind of biopolymer, you are speaking about a material which is compostable and then 100% recyclable. Then is mathematical. You know, the time of that a product like this can be compostable is the time that something which is the metro, the measurement that they have, which is the wood, is more or less 30, 40 years. This material, if you get in compost, gets naturally. It's a lot of time already, you know, but it's a good time. If we think about plastic, it's much heavier. And I don't know, I think for me, the argument with him was another one. From the beginning, this kind of seeds, they are glued many times. Many times are you think the product, but it's already the end of the cycle of the use. Is not part of the process. Then all this is part of it. Then it's a lot of how we were padding the piece. Then we got a material which is recycled. How we get the fabric. Then let's go on a PET material. Then it's not only a upset conversation. Is something that I think is part of our path. I'm trying to grow myself, to grow with the people I'm working in those things. And this product is classic. In some way, it's still being a step back in the way we are not searching a poetic, which is from those new materials, coming from there. The beauty is not coming from there. I think the beauty is just but it's because it was part of a family. Then we were already very happy that from a family made in a more in another way, getting into recycled and then getting into a biomaterial. But I think all of you, all of us, we can work in biomaterials, searching a new beauty, which is a formal and can be done in many ways. And is already much over this product. Then I'm never happy when there is a real reason.
And this even more grass. And it's the revenge of nature. Oh, Anne.
The revenge of their minimum. Come a bit more here. Ecco. We know. Ecco.
I must have done something bad.
Don't worry.
Bad in a previous life.
Poverina, take care of that.
Yeah, ça va bien. Ça va. Merci.
Ça va.
Yes, it's a comforting, a familiar typology in terms of the form. As you say, the beauty. I think the beauty is visual, but also the beauty is the absolute kind of sustainability of the piece itself. You explain very well that you can dismantle the chair at the end of its life and it can be recycled. Its component parts can be recycled. Can you just say a bit more about the properties of the actual bioplastic? Is it as robust as traditional plastic?
It's the good thing. The good news are these kind of biopolymers. They react in a kind of mold, which is something that people that we work for a long time in molds with the normal plastic, we really arrive to very interesting level, very thin shapes. If you see how it's done, the piece is very traditional in some way. It's this kind of good level that we were getting normally with normal plastic. Then the good thing is that we can work in the same way with this new biomaterial, no more than this. And obviously, the reason of this piece of the formal side is because it's part of a family. Then the family grows, and I like a lot this kind of relation with companies that you discuss. I don't like the photo. I don't like the thing. I don't like we have to discuss continuously. Discuss, I think conversation is the only way to go through. There are no more manifesto attitudes for me. There is more a question of real dialogue. A dialogue is a lot of discussion, obviously.
Right, absolutely. And practice being going beyond just greenwashing. Do you think you've set yourself now in your professional work a standard now, or is this a challenge to the industry and to other designers that this is how it has to be from now on?
Well, the standard is obviously more and more we have to understand. More and more we will have transparency in a tool that's going to be now. I hope one day they take care of us and they take us this thing from the hand and they let us go with all the tattoos and the piercing that everybody tried and work on. And generation became finally a bit intelligent, and it's going to be something that we can push and understand many informations, and amplify what is the analogical side of our life. Then more we will see, perhaps will be problematic from another point of view, but we will need to be more transparent in the way we use why this is a linen or this is a cotton and why I'm using, because we will know that we'll be having the instrument to measure these things. That's going to help us a lot to be obliged to work more on this. Then we are doing homeworks. Obviously, I come from a generation that is, I think I've been lucky person working from this city, very lucky, because I think the durability, to work on quality, and to work in these arguments, which are the base of any kind of sustainable conversation. Obviously, they were absolutely in the path. And taking care of speaking with ideas of a person, a company that just get the look and copy something is much easier than to get the first conversation with a designer, which is plenty of doubts and a lot of, and try to do it in some way and lose the time. And all this adaptability and is a magnifical side of the system. But we didn't do all the homeworks, obviously. We didn't have even instrument to apply. Right. And now you ask for a fabric, and the companies, they are not listening, oh, now she's asking that. They are coming back and coming to the studio after 1 month, but to you or to anyone, we are doing this one, perhaps it's not, obviously, not everything goes in the right way, but I think there is a shift in this moment. Mm.
And I think this, you mentioned certification at the start. I think we also need to move to a more universal kind of global standard when it comes to certificates that actually prove the credentials of the products that are being produced. So prove that that a product.
That is going to be the transparency and information. I will not have this thing that falls down. I will have a thing, and I will see. I will have partially. I don't know. I don't know how they are going to help us to organize our system of communication, but in some way, in the moment we will have this transparency, and I think it's very nearby. We really are that's gonna help us a lot to all ask for things done in a certain way. Obviously, the market will be with many layers of life and human relation. Then we cannot imagine that the market is not gonna propose a lot of things which are in the wrong way. That is obvious, but I think market of quality, and we are gonna, all of us, it's like like we eat. We have many ways to approach the way we eat, but there is a kind of transparency and volunteer of what is the new quality for us when the first thing we do, we eat, the way we sleep. There are many. I think this is something which is very simple to understand that.
I think you have a great partner in Andreu World, that they are so kind of open and so committed to trying to solve the problems and the challenges that you bring with your work. I mean, it's not all manufacturers who are able to do that. Committed to that?
Well, it's a manufacturer which is Spanish, but for me, and speaking to the world, I go Sunday, I go to Chicago because there is a fair which is just beginning the next week, that normally they were really far away, and then my life was much more easy. But I work with a few companies. One is them, and we are introducing a project completely in wood, very interesting. And I don't know, I think this company has been always speaking with very interesting people. Then it's not a conversation only with me, but from my side, I try to not only fix on the product, that is part of the argument, on the way we approach things. And Jesus is here, and he knows how proud we are of our discussions, really. And that is the good thing, the good news,
Yes, Jesus is the CEO. If you didn't know that, Jesus,
Yeah.
do you have
Vieni qua, dai,
do you have
come a second.
Jesus,
No.
do you have a question for us, or do you want to make
have some
a
time?
comment? We have time. There's a microphone there
Dai.
coming towards you right now.
As always, is a
I can
human
say
argument.
as a company, I can say that for us, Patricia is a combination of many things, but one is ethic, is a strong ethic, because I think to be creative, you need to be ethically very strong. It's very creative, as you know, but she is a leader in the meaning of make us to do things beyond our limits. And because of that, we work with Patricia.
Pero bueno, yeah. The important thing, veramente, we discuss a lot with Jesus, because Jesus goes to the bed and then thinks about. And then he called me back and he hates when we are. And then says, I have a solution. I changed this. This is the way to work. And sometimes we don't choose the right partner. It's very important to be always humble, understand perhaps I have to move to another thing, and to be adaptable, but to be at the same time, to understand that it's a long way. It's a long way, and there are a lot of young faces in front of me. Then I think you are the generation that has to break many more rules. I come surely. From my side, I try.
Absolutely.
Probably there is one thing is not doing well. There is something that now probably is very important. You mentioned, Simon, about the certification, which is critical. We have, for example, the 4-star tube that is going to be in each shell, showing that this is 100% origin bio. And this is probably the only one lounge or furniture with this size made in the world with this technology. But there is something that now is even more important than this, that this is critical. I totally agree with the transparency that Patricia is asking for. And I think it's the attitude. The attitude now is mandatory. I think every company, every professional, every designer, and the designers have the leadership like Patricia. This is like gold. This is a gift for us, because they make us to run in a good direction. That is, they make a little bit better the world. Now, I think that we are, and all of us we know, in a kind of emergency as a world in the climate change and all of these things. The companies, we need to do a big change in the way we approach everything, manufacturing and many other things. Then the Silver design is something that is mandatory for all of us. And then before all of this transparency that is critical, the certificates that are important, is the attitude from all of us towards that. And then professionals, companies, designers, we need to do something in few years that we didn't in the last many decades. And that's an opportunity as well.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I would say absolutely. But as they say in America, a turkey doesn't vote for Christmas. And if we're working in a kind of commercial context, and so it really does require a commitment from all of us to try and balance, a kind of commercial growth, financial growth with, addressing what is, as you say, an emergency. I just want to bring in, as Patricia said, there are a lot of very young people here. Very young people. Okay, you're all adults.
See, but what is good is to think. When we say the word emergency too many times, or you became absolutely radical, or you get absolutely out of the system. There is no way, because the problem is so big that should be the only solution, not to do new pieces, for example. But I think the way my life is being always trying to get into the pot, into the circumstances, and each one can operate in a different way. Perhaps you can be a very radical person, and the way you get into the world is very interesting, because in you is very credible. Each one has to find his credible path and the way that he can give the best. So when you say a metaphor of cuisine, someone does very easy things, and for me it's as interesting as some other kind of friend that is always very exact and does something which is very special. each one has to find a way, but we have a lot to do. And I think then me, I've been always in the system, then it's good that I have a lot of relation, then I can have a lot of discussions from the inside. And that possibly is part of my generation or the person we are in the system, to be really in this moment open to discuss, which is good thing, and from the inside. And then,
of course, it's and a well-earned position that you have, but it's a privileged position where you can attempt to change things from the inside. I just wanted to give the microphone, literally, metaphorically, to some of the younger people here. What do you think about this particular product as a both literally, but also as a sign, as a symbol? What are your thoughts?
Symbol, I will go low profile with that.
Okay.
No, that is a sign of a company, a Spanish, searching technology all around Europe and finding his goals. That is already, and I can use it, and I say, Guarda, if he was doing this, you can do. Then those kind of passage, no, of they are very important, because if anything you do, which is, we are a toolbox for others, no, that is something that Obrist always said, we all are a toolbox for the others. Then it's not more complex of this. I don't mean, we don't have to be the same kind of toolbox, but each one can have his personality and use his energy in a certain way. That is a good thing.
Good.
Then this company try to be that, no? That is.
Good. Questions? Other questions? The microphone is free. Yeah.
What are some of the discussions that happens behind the process? What are some of the discussions?
The discussions, I would say, now is not working. No. There is a moment of, perhaps in the moment we have both the discussions. Lord, I don't know if Jesus let me say them, but I was saying that family is born years ago, 6, 7, 8 years. Quite 8 years ago. Then I was saying, why to go on in this family that is done in injection in plastic? Even we can arrive to any kind of recycled plastic, but it's an old product. We have to move to another thing. Why do you want the armchair? And he was so insistent, said the only way we can go is you find for me a bioplastic. And I do the mold completely. 100%. If not, I'm not interested. Then this kind of, we do continuously this kind of. Then is, I'm never been afraid to say what I think in a company, and I've been too much easy many times. And I'm learning in my life to go through conversation with others, but always pushing in what I think is important. If they want to work with me, we have to move in certain ways, and I grow with them, because you grow with the company. We are not designers every day. We are not. You have to, in the morning, go to the artisan and I speak with him and go and try to find a way to do something. It's not only designers. We are not only in our mind. It's something that is shared with others. No?
Great. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for the talk. So I come from Kenya, which is like on the east of Africa. And I know, like, especially with your work, you collaborate with a lot of designers and make a lot of things possible. Although in Kenya, we don't have like access to the technology or the infrastructure to kind of manipulate things like materials in this way. So I wanted to ask, what do you think is the importance of like collaborating with people or countries who don't have the right technology in order to, yeah?
No, well, I've been working with a few friends, I will say, in Africa. One in 2 different places. For example, in Botswana, I've been in South Africa, going to a creative meeting, the certamen that they do in Daba, which is, and there was a lot of proud people telling a lot of stories, but there was a very shy guy in the end that I liked the face, and he came to me and said, "Me, I am from Botswana." He said, "Not from South Africa," and I got completely in love with him, and Peter Mabeo, we did some things with him, and the only technology he had was a technology for wood and not all the technologies we have here for wood, very simple ones, but he was so sensible guy that we enjoyed. And for example, we participated in New York in a fair, and our pieces arrived 2 days later because we're coming from Botswana, these things. But we win the certamen because we win in New York. And I tell you a story from 10 years ago. And now he was in Miami Design in Art Basel in Miami in this December. He was one of the stars, a capito there, and it was Peter. Oh, Peter, fantastico. Then Peter is going through his path. He has his sensibility, he has his possibilities, but he is a visionary. And visionary doesn't mean, this kind of heavy person. No, Peter is molto cool, carino. He gets the best of what he can, and he is a fascinating man. For example, that is an example. Then I've been working with Patricia Urquiola. Her husband is from Senegal, and now there is an art fair, very interesting in this moment. But we did a nice work together through using a sustainable reuse of a fiber, which is done for cables and blah, blah, but working with wiring, which is something that everybody in Senegal can do, and just putting the energy of Ronarad or some other friends from other places, and getting through the path with them, and they are still producing them. Then my mentality is many times they even say, "Oh, Patricia, okay, she's the craft girl," And then I smile and I think, yes, on my education, there is Birgit here. Our first work was absolutely in an industria where we were going to Meda to do tubes, molds, and all these kind of things. Then it's not my education craft at all. But obviously, I am super interested in technology and in craft and in all these things. And then if my work in craft was keep the attention of people, molto bene. Very happy because I think there is a lot to work. Now I'm fixed with ceramic. I'm not the only one. I think they are waves, no, which is beauty. And nothing else. Nothing else. Then go on. That is a question of, we have to use our sensibility, and there are many ways to use it. And try to do something exceptional with the possibilities you have. And then if that thing goes into e-commerce, then you became a global attention, and then you can do disasters. Okay, you know what I mean? That's very easy. Not easy. We have to think it's easy, and then we do it. I was Spanish and a girl. Then I was so interested, ending my studies in Milano, to be as Italian as them. They didn't feel me like someone coming from outside, that I didn't understand, I didn't focus on I was a woman. Then perhaps losing my prejudices helped them to not think I was a girl in some way. Then all that problems that in 30 years ago was a bit more complex, perhaps it was part of me, coming from me, to not think I'm not in a situation which is not good. I'm a winner. If I'm a loser, because I'm a loser many mornings, but I'm a loser which is a winner. Or I'm a winner which is a loser. But we play with that. You know what I mean? Then feel like this. It's Karina, Echo. We come all with you to do something, Echo. That is what we need. Because you are very attractive, molto interessante. Yes, fantastica. You understand.
I'm not sure the camera can see you, but
Yes.
I agree. I agree.
Yes, you agree.
We have 1 minute left. So if someone wants to squeeze in a question, I think there's.
Yes, I have a very small question. This is about the armchair. I've noticed that when it spins, it goes back to its first point, and I was wondering Is it for comfort, or was there some kind of philosophy behind this detail?
I hope so. First, I hope so, because the first time they arrived with the prototype, we were speaking about how to do the joint in between this kind of classical central leg, which is already a typology which is really vintage. Then, and they were insisting on having it. Then in this vintage, then said that let's get something else. How can we? I'm a kind of this kind of person. Then why don't we work on that? And Jesus said immediately. And then he came with the prototypes. It's very nice because normally I go to the companies in Italia to see the prototypes, but he understood, coming from Valencia, that began to be a bit more complex. When there is a plane, but it's sometimes complicated. And then sometimes he called me, sent me a WhatsApp, and said, I am coming, the Mercoledì, there with the prototype. Then you can't say no. Then I have to take out all the other things because Jesus is coming with a prototype. Molto carino. It's beautiful to speak always with person that they break prejudices, they know how to get into your fantasy or your sensibility. That is the beautiful thing.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
That's a beautiful thing. That really is. Patricia, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you. And thank you very much to Andreu World as well. We really appreciate
I will only say one thing. Here, there should be a conversation about Meneghello, which is a man who was teaching how to produce things to Birgit Lohmann, which is here, to me, to Francesca, Donde Sta, Meravigliosa, and a lot of some men, but a lot of women that we were working in the Padova. And I couldn't come because I had a talk in another place, and he couldn't come because he's a man in a moment which sometimes has problems. But we have to find a way to make you understand how a group of persons, we've been really sensible. So we learned a lot with that kind of technician that was a very sensible guy. Then I'm proud to be here, but I want to say a word for the effort of my friends that been trying to keep him tonight. But today we didn't, but you will do another time because that was a fantastic effort, a fantastic idea.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you.